I talk a lot about niche fragrances, and I think for someone who is just casually watching my videos, it might be easy to assume that I hate designer fragrances. So I wanted to make a video addressing this and also sharing with you some of my designer fragrances that I've had for years and answering the question, do I hate designer fragrances, and or why have I stopped buying designer? That's what we're covering in this video here today. But if this is your first time watching this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances. I talk about them here 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. I also publish additional videos on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. And if you're interested in fragrance history, I actually have a podcast called The Fragrance Report. This podcast comes out with a new episode every single Wednesday on Spotify and on YouTube. And if you're someone who's interested in saving a bit of money, if you want an effective way of tracking your fragrances, whether they be in sample, decant, or full bottle form, then I would highly suggest you check out my fragrance collection log and expense tracker. It's a handy little spreadsheet that I have linked down below in my Stan store. So, addressing the question, do I hate designer fragrances? Do I dislike them? Do I think they're worth it? Do I think they're not? I do in some cases. I think the designer fragrances, in my personal opinion, have gotten to be really expensive, and now there is a growing opportunity for affordable niche brands. And I know affordable is a bit of a touchy word for some, and I completely understand because affordable means something different to everyone. But I call affordable niche a fragrance that's under $200. So if a fragrance is under $200 and it's in the niche category, I call that fragrance affordable niche. Now, a lot of fragrances out there, especially designers, are climbing higher and higher and higher in terms of price point. It is super easy to go into an Ulta, Sephora, Macy's, and buy a bottle of fragrance and spend $150. And I consider that egregious, especially when you consider the fact that these designer fragrances are designed to appeal to the mass market. They're designed to kind of appeal to the masses. They're designed to be non-offensive. They go through a lot of testing because the people making these fragrances, the brands making these fragrances, want these fragrances to be easy to consume for a bunch of people. They want anyone walking into Sephora to look at a fragrance and be like, hey, I like this perfume, I want to buy it. A fragrance with notes such as leather, latex, some notes that are a little bit more abrasive, animalic notes, notes that might be a little bit more unusual, let's just say an accord like lipstick. Those kinds of fragrances are less likely to be included in a designer space because designer fragrance brands are investing a lot of money into their product, into their advertising to make it available for the wider consumer. When you are someone who is starting to love fragrances and you kind of go into this world and you start smelling more and more fragrances, you start smelling hundreds, thousands of fragrances, you start to quickly identify that there are certain themes that designer fragrance brands tend to embody because they are trying to make money. And that is totally understandable. But as someone who has over 150 fragrances in my collection right now, I do not like repetition. I want to have a fragrance in my collection and know that I don't have a lot of other fragrances similar to it. And as someone who is also trying to be very conscious about spending money, I like to be very conscious about what I'm consuming. I don't like buying fragrances just because they're popular. I like buying fragrances because I love them. They speak to me and I want to have them in my collection. As a result, I have a very select number of designer fragrances that I've curated, that I've purchased myself over the years. Another thing about designer fragrances is I will only buy the designer fragrances that I love. And I say the same for any category, be it Middle Eastern, niche, designer. I will only want to buy a fragrance if I absolutely love it. Yes, I've started to receive PR. PR I receive is primarily from growing brands, and I'm really passionate about supporting those brands and giving them a wider audience. I love showcasing those brands to you. Especially because, as I mentioned before, a lot of the brands that I spotlight on this channel include affordable niche brands. So actually, when you look at their pricing, they are comparable, if not even better, more affordable than designer brands. And I want to kind of spotlight a few of those brands later on in this video, but I have here some designer fragrances that I absolutely love that are amazing. And as we go on throughout this video, I'll also be telling you about what I look for when it comes to designer fragrances, the kind of checklist that I go through in my head that allows me to kind of discern what I really want to buy and what I'd rather pass on. So let's get into it. And the thing is, if you have been on this channel for any length of time, you might also recognize some of these fragrances, and that is because I wear these perfumes constantly. These are must-haves. These are fragrances that I will touch at least once every 2 weeks, if not even more than that. But the first fragrance that I really absolutely love is Replica's On a Date. This, when it came out, absolutely blew me away, and I think that the replica fragrances are super popular. A lot of people really love to talk about them, and for good reason. Like, they are, you know, kind of cult favorites in this industry, right? But On a Date has definitely been the fragrance that for me is like the unsung hero of this line. There are so many nuances to this fragrance. This fragrance is also one of the most long-lasting fragrances in the replica range, and there's a reason why I have this bottle, and like I've made a bit of a dent in it, but I've had this for a long time, and the reason is I don't have to spray too much to get a lot of wear out of this, and that cannot be said for every other fragrance in the replica line, but this one is really unique in that way. This perfume is a fruity rose, and it has notes of blackcurrant syrup, pink pepper, and bergamot at the top, a mid of rose, geranium, and divana, and then a base of patchouli, moss, musk, and vetiver. I love that this perfume has like that kind of slightly sharp aromatic rose. Rose and vetiver are truly center stage here with a bit of that blackcurrant. This is really beautiful. Everyone that I've had smell this really likes it. If you are a fan of rose and you want something interesting, you want something long lasting, this is really beautiful. And the sillage on this is absolutely gorgeous. Something else that I recommend, especially when you're building your fragrance collection from the ground up, is to invest in fragrances that are easy to wear, that are versatile, that you can really just spray on and not worry about too much. And for that category, I have a few of these fragrances, and I've talked about all these before, so I'm just going to go through them. The first is Aqua Allegoria by Guerlain. This is the Forte concentration. I like the Forte concentration because obviously it's more strong than the original. The original is an eau de toilette. This is an eau de parfum, which I do appreciate. This, again, is something that you can spray on easily. It's, you know, kind of like a little black dress in terms of fragrance, and I really like it. It's a kind of like orange, herbal fragrance. It's citrusy. It's easy. I really appreciate this one. Also, this I've had for years, Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel. A classic patchouli, a little bit grassy. You guys know about this. You guys have probably seen this. I really do love it. This is kind of like a perfect first fragrance. If you're a person that really likes feminine fragrances, if you want to kind of explore the designer realm, Coco Mademoiselle is absolutely essential to me. I've had this for years. And then I also really appreciate Guerlain, Mon Guerlain, the classic. It's a beautiful aromatic vanilla. It's cushiony, it's soft, it's easy. Yeah, these fragrances are really good, and I would say for the most part, maybe not this one. Aqua Allegoria Forte might be a little bit harder to try and store and sample, but these, super easy to just go in, try them out. If you like them, get them. And you can also get them for a lot cheaper on the discount websites as well. I'm talking Fragrance Net. What else? Yeah, you know, like the discount websites. Because these have been around for a little bit of time, you can get them for a really fair price. So these, to me, love them. I don't really wear them as much anymore though, but I still do appreciate them. I still think that they are great, and I would recommend. I also want to touch on some of my Muglare fragrances. I love Muglare, or rather I used to really like their fragrances. Actually, I still do. But I used to respect them a little bit more when they had like the more unusual fragrances that they have since discontinued. But they were acquired by L'Oreal, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, a lot of designer brands like to come out with fragrances that are mass appealing, and that is fine. But when they discontinue the fragrances that I absolutely love, that's when I get sad. But I have Muglare fragrances. Two of them were discontinued. This one is Alien Fusion, which is kind of like I think an orange blossom, a kind of cinnamony version of Alien. And then I have Aura. Aura, to me, who discontinued this? We need to have a conversation because this is stunningly gorgeous. It's a green fragrance with tonka, rhubarb. It's stunning. And I'm treasuring this bottle. I got this at a discount site before they started kind of pulling this. I don't even know. I don't even want to know how much this costs now. But these are some designer fragrances that are a little bit more unusual. These were my first kind of like fragrances that I tried in the designer space that were a little bit more unique, a little bit more special. And then of course we have the classic Alien. This is amber and jasmine. It has like a very signature jasmine that once you smell it, it's really hard to forget this kind of jasmine. If you are someone who is new to fragrance and trying to kind of experiment with notes, I'd highly suggest you smell Alien. You might not love it, and that is fine, but I'd highly suggest smelling it so you can get an understanding of what jasmine can smell like. So this is classic. It's beautiful. Love it. Speaking of discontinued fragrances, again, who discontinued this? I don't even know. This is Narciso by Narciso Rodriguez. I call it one of the sexiest fragrances I own because the musk in here is... it gives me those vibes. It's a sexy musk, white floral fragrance. So beautiful. As soon as I got wind that this was about to be discontinued, I bought myself a full bottle. I think at that point in time, I had never paid this much for a fragrance. And keep in mind, several years ago, so like when I had initially bought this, like I had never spent, I think, more than $100 on a fragrance. Like even, I think even Alien, when I originally bought this, like it was a little bit less than $100. But I got wind that this was about to be discontinued, and I bought it like immediately. And I do not regret it one bit because now I know I can keep this for life. It is amazing. So beautiful. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite Narciso that I have smelled. It is absolutely gorgeous, but that's the thing. A lot of designer fragrances get discontinued, and then I get sad. Anyway, let's talk about two more fragrances. Two more fragrances that I absolutely love, and I actually have recommended these fragrances rather recently. Pure Poison by Dior and Idole Nectar. I know that not everyone loves Pure Poison by Dior, but on me, most people love it. I love it. I think it's amazing. It's like easily like one of my top 3 designer fragrances of all time, and you can tell that I use it a ton. Gorgeous, beautiful, succulent white floral with a bit of a clean musk. Some citruses. So whereas Narciso is more of like an animalic musk, this is a clean, more demure musk. It's less obvious, okay? This is beautiful. I love it so much. Definitely recommend you smell it. I know that everyone talks about Hypnotic Poison. Hypnotic Poison, not my favorite fragrance. This, absolutely love it. Another one, Idole Nectar, gorgeous. Yeah, you definitely have to try the Idole line if you are kind of looking for a new designer fragrance because they have like a very signature Idole rose that's like slightly deeper, maybe ambery, but not too much. It's a signature Idole rose that they have through their entire Idole line. And in this particular case, they've paired it with a gorgeous caramel and popcorn. So it's gourmand, but still floral. It's like right there in the middle. I love this so much. It reminds me of Barbie Summer. That's when I bought this fragrance. That's what the scent memory that's associated with it. I love it. It's amazing. Some more fragrances that are essential. Gucci Memoir, beautiful, aromatic chamomile, and L'Imperatrice. Essential. This is so good. I wear this constantly. Watery, kiwi, watermelon, cyclamen, rhubarb, gorgeous. I will go through this. I will guarantee. Okay, this is my second bottle. And I don't say that for a lot of fragrances, but this is my second bottle. I love it. But yeah, those are like my essential top tier designer fragrances. And I've kind of like skimmed through them because I've spoken about all these before in previous videos, but I haven't spoken about them recently. I know a lot of people on this channel are pretty new, so I just wanted to share with you like some of my favorite designers. Some affordable niche options that are actually the same price, if not less expensive than a lot of the fragrances I've just mentioned, happen to be, I have a few options. I have 3 brands. I speak about niche all the time on this channel, so I wanted to keep this to be like mainly designer, but I also want to share with you some brands that I genuinely think are amazing options if you're looking for something more affordable. Theodore's Calatinas sells gorgeous fragrances for around $60 US. These are what the fragrances tend to look like, and this bottle is $60. They have a bunch of different options. You won't get like the fancy kind of bottle, but you'll get something pretty decent for an affordable price. So Theodore's Calatinas, they're great. It's a Greek brand. They've become more popular in the US, which I love. Also, a Room 1015. This is Jasmine Freak from them. I am getting a discount code with them. They did send this to me in PR. But in terms of affordability, Room 1015 is rather fantastic. Jasmine Freak is a beautiful floral jasmine with a bit of pepperiness to it. I really love this, and I think this is like around $150 US. Again, comparable to designer pricing, and you get so much in here. And this is also a scent profile that's a little bit more unusual. It's a little bit more interesting. It's not going to be your cookie cutter option, and they do have a discovery set. One of the fragrance brands that I recommend to anyone is absolutely positively 100% Une Nuit Nomade. When I was first transitioning from majority designer and Middle Eastern fragrances to the niche realm, so to speak, I was buying Une Nuit Nomade. Before I ever worked with them, I was buying many fragrances from them that I absolutely love. I was raving by their discovery set, and now I have the pleasure of having an affiliate partnership with them, so I do have a code with them. It's Anya 10. But I still love them even after all these years. They're amazing. They're one of my favorite brands. The fragrances that they have in this size from this particular line will run you around $150. And then they also have smaller size options that are around $100. You also get to save a little bit of money if you choose to opt in for no packaging, which cuts down the price by $10, I believe, on average. So again, they have options. They also have decants, samples. They have an amazing discovery set, super accessible. Another option, Chabaud. This is again around that similar price point, around $120. This is Mon Tiramisu from them. I love it. Gorgeous gourmand. They also have some other fragrances that are not gourmands, and they also have a discovery set as well. But yeah, that's it for this video. Those are all the fragrances I wanted to talk about today. Definitely do let me know what you think about designer fragrances. Are you someone who loves them, or are you someone who's kind of like looking for something new and a little bit more innovative? Let me know. Do you agree? Do you disagree with the points I made about designer fragrances? I will continue to love these designer fragrances. They are essential to me, but I'm not necessarily going to go and automatically buy a fragrance just when it comes out. I tend to be very methodical about fragrances, especially designer, because they're available everywhere and I have the opportunity to test them as much as I want to. So with that being said, thank you for watching till the end, and I will see you next time. Bye.